Luffy shook the world when he awakened Gear 5. But what if he had that power from the very beginning? How different would the story of One Piece be if Luffy unlocked Gear 5 in Episode 1? The story begins the same way, with young Luffy sitting in Makino's bar, begging to join Shanks and his crew as a pirate. Out of hunger and frustration, he grabs a strange fruit from a chest and takes a bite. Instead of just turning into rubber, Luffy's entire body starts glowing with white energy. His hair turns white, and he radiates an aura that makes everything around him feel different. The bar's wooden floor starts bouncing like rubber, and the tables begin warping. Shanks immediately stops laughing and stares at the boy with wide eyes, realizing this isn't the Gomu Gomu no Mi. This is the Hito Hito no Mi, Model Nika, the legendary devil fruit that the world government has been desperately hunting for 800 years. What makes this even more shocking is that Luffy just awakened it instantly at only 7 years old, something that should be completely impossible. Most devil fruit users take decades to awaken their powers, if they ever do at all, but this child accessed the full potential of the most dangerous fruit in existence. Shanks realizes two things immediately. If the world government discovers this, they will send everything they have to capture or kill Luffy, and this boy might actually be the one that Roger talked about before he died. The one who would turn the world upside down and bring true freedom to everyone. The very next day, the bandit incident happens, but plays out completely differently. When the bandits kidnap Luffy and throw him into the ocean, the Sea King emerges to eat him, but Luffy's Gear 5 activates on pure instinct. His tiny fist stretches back impossibly far and shoots forward, transforming the massive creature's body into rubber and sending it flying across the ocean like a bouncing ball. Shanks arrives and dives into the ocean to grab Luffy, but the massive Sea King lunges forward with its jaws wide open. Even though Luffy is waterlogged and weakened, his Gear 5 activates on instinct again, and he punches the Sea King, sending it flying across the ocean. Shanks' arm is intact because Luffy's instinctive punch dealt with the Sea King before it could attack. Shanks looks at Luffy lying on the beach, exhausted but grinning despite nearly drowning, and realizes he can't just leave this child in the village. The world government has spies everywhere, and eventually someone will report what happened. When that happens, admirals will come, and this peaceful village will become a battlefield. So Shanks makes a decision that changes everything. He tells Luffy that if he really wants to become a pirate and be free, then he should come with them right now. Luffy doesn't hesitate for even a second. That same day, Luffy boards the Red Force and leaves Windmill Village behind, beginning a completely different journey from the one we know. The years Luffy spends with Shanks and his crew transform him in ways that would never happen in the original timeline. Instead of training alone in the mountains, Luffy is now surrounded by some of the strongest pirates in the entire world. The first year is brutal, as Luffy's awakened form keeps activating randomly without warning. Each of Shanks' top commanders takes responsibility for different aspects of his training. Ben Beckman focuses on observation and awareness, making Luffy fight blindfolded and pushing him to develop observation haki years ahead of schedule so that by age 10, he can sense people's emotions and intentions with frightening accuracy. Lucky Roo teaches Luffy that battles don't always need to be serious, meshing perfectly with Gear 5's cartoonish nature. Yasop focuses on teaching precision and perfect timing. The most crucial lessons come directly from Shanks himself, who teaches Luffy about Conqueror's haki and how to infuse his attacks with it, creating devastating combinations with his awakened devil fruit abilities. By age 12, Luffy can maintain Gear 5 for several hours without getting tired and completely masters the ability to turn his surrounding environment into rubber. Shanks also makes sure Luffy understands the heavy responsibility that comes with his incredible power. He takes the young boy to islands that the world government completely destroyed for daring to oppose them, and Luffy walks through ruins, sees countless graves, and meets families torn apart by tragedy. These experiences plant deep seeds of rebellion in his heart, teaching him that true freedom means fighting to protect everyone else's freedom too. During these formative years, Shanks shares secrets about the world that most people will never learn. The Void Century, the 100 years of history the world government erased, who Joy Boy was and what he tried to accomplish, and the ancient kingdom that challenged the world government 800 years ago and lost. Most importantly, Shanks tells Luffy that the Nika fruit didn't choose him by accident, but because he's meant to finish what Joy Boy started all those centuries ago. When Luffy turns 16, he's grown into an incredibly powerful young man who could easily serve as a commander in any Emperor's crew, having mastered all 3 types of haki to levels most pirates never achieve, and refined his Gear 5 while keeping its wild, free spirit. One night, Luffy tells Shanks he wants to leave and form his own pirate crew, not because he's ungrateful, but because he's come to understand his true purpose. Shanks responds with that same warm smile from the original timeline, but this time, things are different. Instead of giving Luffy the straw hat, Shanks gives him something even more valuable and dangerous: the exact location of one of the 4 road poneglyphs, the ancient stones needed to find Laugh Tale and the One Piece. He explains that when Luffy is ready, when he's gathered his crew and proven himself to the world, he should come back. Luffy's approach to building his crew is completely different from the original timeline. He's now a highly trained fighter with a crystal clear goal and more than enough power to achieve it. His first destination is Shell's Town, where he walks straight through the front gates with Conqueror's haki bursting out unconsciously, knocking out every weak-willed marine. Captain Morgan freezes in terror as Luffy cuts through Zoro's ropes using just a finger coated in advanced armament haki and asks him to join. Zoro agrees immediately, impressed by this display of power. Finding Nami, Luffy deliberately sails to Arlong Park and activates Gear 5. The water transforms into rubber, Arlong's saw-like nose bends harmlessly, and the building starts warping. Luffy defeats Arlong's entire crew in just minutes, grabbing Arlong and slamming him into the ground so hard the entire complex shatters. Nami joins because he destroyed in minutes what she spent 8 years trying to overcome. Usopp's recruitment happens in Syrup Village, where Luffy's observation haki senses Kuro's murderous intentions from miles away. The fight is brutally one-sided, as Luffy defeats Kuro with one armament haki punch that sends him flying into the horizon. Usopp joins because Luffy is the perfect captain to help him become a brave warrior of the sea. Sanji's recruitment at the Barati happens when Don Krieg's fleet attacks. Luffy defeats Krieg by grabbing his golden armor, spinning him around like a cartoon character, and launching him across the ocean. Sanji watches this absurd yet incredible battle and realizes this white-haired kid embodies the freedom he's always dreamed about. When Luffy compliments every dish after eating everything in the restaurant, Sanji knows he found his captain. This is where the timeline diverges massively from the original story. Word spreads incredibly fast about a 16-year-old pirate with mysterious white hair who defeated Arlong, Don Krieg, and other major East Blue threats without breaking a sweat. The first person to pledge complete allegiance is Bartolomeo, who shows up at Logtown with his entire crew begging to join. The confrontation with Smoker plays out completely differently, as Luffy faces him directly and calmly explains his dream to completely change the world and free it from the Celestial Dragon's oppressive control. Smoker is shocked by this teenager's incredible conviction and overwhelming power, and deep down wants to see if this boy can actually accomplish what he claims. As Luffy enters the Grand Line, he doesn't take the normal route, but uses detailed knowledge from Shanks to chart a course that lets him meet powerful potential allies much more quickly. At Whiskey Peak, he recruits many Baroque Works agents after defeating their leaders. Alabasta becomes a major turning point. Luffy goes straight to Rain Dinners, crashes through the casino's roof while in Gear 5, and challenges Crocodile to a direct fight. He grabs Crocodile's sand and transforms it into rubber, making every attack bounce back. The fight ends quickly and brutally. Princess Vivi witnesses everything and makes a shocking decision. Instead of staying in Alabasta to rule as princess, she permanently joins Luffy's crew, realizing she can accomplish far more good by traveling with him. After Alabasta, Luffy's reputation explodes across the Grand Line. More crews pledge allegiance, including the Beautiful Pirates, the Happo Navy, and the Tontada Kingdom. By the time Luffy reaches Sabaudi Archipelago, he already commands an impressive fleet of over 5,000 pirates spread across multiple divisions. The world government starts genuinely panicking about this full-scale revolutionary movement that threatens their entire power structure. When news breaks that Port Ghastie Ace has been captured and sentenced to public execution at Marineford, Luffy arrives with overwhelming force. His massive fleet surrounds the marine fortress from all sides, emerging from the fog in waves, with division after division revealing itself. The battle begins completely differently from the original timeline, as Luffy charges straight down the middle with Gear 5 fully activated from the very start. The entire plaza transforms around him as buildings become bouncy and elastic, cannons fire harmless rubber balls, and the Marines fight in an environment that follows cartoon logic. When Whitebeard sees Luffy's incredible power, he immediately recognizes what Roger told him about this legendary fruit and the warrior who would finish what Joy Boy started. He orders his entire crew to support Luffy, and the Whitebeard pirates and Straw Hat Grand Fleet fight side by side. Luffy defeats everyone who tries to stop him. Admiral Kizaru's light speed kicks are grabbed and transformed into rubber. Admiral Kuzan's ice becomes bouncy like a trampoline, and even Admiral Sakazuki's magma attacks prove useless. When Luffy reaches the execution platform, he grabs the entire structure, transforms it into rubber, and catapults Ace high into the air. He catches his shocked brother and pulls him to safety before any Marine can react. Sakazuki goes berserk, but Luffy shows everyone the true, terrifying potential of Gear 5 as the deadly magma becomes rubber, and even Sakazuki's own body starts warping. Luffy punches Sakazuki with such tremendous force that the Admiral flies across the entire ocean and crashes into Marineford's outer wall, completely knocked out. Fleet Admiral Sengoku tries to continue the battle, but Whitebeard stops him, telling him the war is already over and the Marines have lost. The Marines retreat completely defeated and humiliated. Ace is freed and immediately joins Luffy's crew, realizing his little brother is now strong enough to protect everyone. After Marineford ends with the Marines' complete defeat, Luffy officially becomes an Emperor of the Sea at just 17 years old, with a bounty of 4 billion berries. Understanding that to truly free the world, he needs to eliminate every major obstacle. Luffy targets the other emperors who represent the old way of ruling through fear and intimidation. His first target is Big Mom, whose soul-based powers simply can't overcome Gear 5's reality warping abilities. When she tries to steal years from Luffy's lifespan, he makes his own soul bouncy so it slips out of her grasp. The fight reaches its peak when Big Mom combines all 3 of her special homies. But Luffy transforms the entire island of Whole Cake into rubber and defeats her with Gum Gum Dawn Gatling. Next comes Kaido, the strongest creature in the world. Luffy sails sails straight to Wano and directly challenges the Beast Pirates. Kaido's Thunder Bagua, enhanced with advanced Conqueror's Haki, is caught by Luffy's bare hands and the clash splits the sky. Luffy fully activates Gear 5 and ties Kaido's massive dragon form into a knot. After the final clash above Wano's capital, Kaido falls but wakes up laughing with genuine respect and pledges his loyalty. The final emperor to challenge is Blackbeard, who is significantly less powerful without the Gura Gura no Mi. When they meet, Blackbeard is confident his darkness can nullify Luffy's devil fruit. But he's wrong because Gear 5 comes from Luffy's pure will and limitless imagination. Even when Blackbeard activates his nullification ability, Luffy's powers keep working perfectly. The battle destroys most of the island as Blackbeard's darkness tries to swallow everything, but Luffy transforms the darkness itself into rubber. Without the Gura Gura no Mi, Blackbeard relies solely on darkness and physical strength, which isn't enough against someone who trained with Shanks for years. Blackbeard falls. His dreams of ruling the world completely shattered. His crew scatters in fear, but some join Luffy's fleet instead. With all the emperors either defeated or allied with him, Luffy becomes the undisputed strongest force on all the seas. With all the emperors handled, Luffy sets his sights on the world government and heads to Egghead Island, where Dr. Vegapunk conducts crucial research. When Luffy arrives, the island is surrounded by marine battleships and CP0 agents, but he lands right in the middle with his crew. Vegapunk sees Luffy's Gear 5 form and tells him everything about the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, Joy Boy's complete history, and every secret about the Void Century. Then Saturn arrives and transforms into his massive spider-like yokai form, followed by the other 4 or 5 elders who arrive simultaneously in their terrifying yokai forms. 2 admirals, Kizaru and Fujitora, also step onto the island as the world government throws everything they have at this location. The Straw Hats spring into action to buy time for Vegapunk to escape. When all 5 elders try to crush them, Luffy unleashes a massive burst of Conqueror's Haki that knocks out thousands of marines and creates a massive rubber barrier, holding back the elders' assault long enough for Vegapunk to secure everything. Vegapunk decides to join the crew permanently. Luffy holds off all 5 elders and both admirals by himself for critical seconds before the crew sails away at maximum speed. Back on the island, Imu destroys Saturn as punishment for failure. The Thousand Sunny escapes, with Vegapunk bringing his research, advanced technology, and knowledge about the ancient weapons and how to defeat Imu. With Vegapunk secured and Saturn defeated, Luffy contacts his father, Monkey D. Dragon, for the first time. Dragon sees in Luffy exactly what he's been fighting for his entire life, and instead of asking for help, Luffy offers to help the Revolutionary Army achieve their goals faster. Dragon, Sabo, and all the Revolutionary commanders realize Luffy has gathered more raw power in just 2 years than their organization built in decades. So they form an official alliance, combining the Revolutionary Army's global intelligence network with the Straw Hat Grand Fleet's overwhelming combat power. Sabo becomes Luffy's right-hand man for coordinating all the allied forces as they plan the final assault on Mary Geoise. Before launching that attack, Luffy travels to Elbaf, the legendary kingdom of giants that has remained neutral for centuries. The giants are initially skeptical, having watched countless pirates make grand promises they never keep. But when Luffy demonstrates his full Gear 5 power and shows them what freedom truly looks like, something fundamental changes. The giants recognize the legendary warrior of liberation from their ancient stories, and Luffy convinces them to release Prince Loki. Thousands of giant warriors join the alliance, representing the single largest threat the world government has faced in 800 years. The assault on Mary Geoise begins at dawn as Luffy approaches the Red Line from the front with his entire massive fleet, making even the celestial dragons shake with fear. The world government responds by deploying everything: the remaining marines, the holy knights, the 5 elders, and Imu, the mysterious shadow ruler who has secretly controlled the world for 800 years. The battlefield spans the entire Red Line, with freedom fighters from every corner united by belief in Luffy's dream, facing the accumulated military power of 800 years of oppression. Luffy's commanders lead their divisions expertly. Zoro faces the strongest Holy Knight, Marco and the Whitebeard pirates hold the left flank. Kaido smashes through the Holy Knights formations. Giants climb the Red Line, pulling down defensive walls, and Sabo's Revolutionary Army frees slaves. But the real battle happens at the center, where Luffy faces Imu directly. The battle transcends normal combat as they fight with fundamental concepts about existence itself, with Luffy refusing to back down despite Imu's overwhelming abilities. Meanwhile, the remaining elders start falling one by one. Zoro defeats Saint Nusjuro, Sanji's white-hot flames burn Saint Mars to ashes, Law uses his awakened surgical powers to separate Saint Warcurry's head, and only Saint Jupiter escapes. With each elder that falls, Imu visibly grows weaker as they're all connected through Imu's power. Luffy sees his chance and charges every bit of power into a single devastating attack called the Dawn Fist, combining Gear 5's reality warping ability with the maximum output of all 3 types of Haki. When the attack connects with Imu, it completely shatters their ancient form, breaking their immortality and scattering their accumulated power. Every single person in the world feels the crushing weight of 800 years of oppression finally lifting. Imu's body crumbles to dust. The world government collapses instantly. The Marines surrender, and 800 years of tyranny ends in a single day. In the aftermath, Luffy doesn't claim rulership or become a new authority, but instead gives every nation the power and freedom to govern themselves with just one promise. Anyone who tries to oppress others will answer directly to him. Subscribe and smash the like button for more One Piece videos!